Look around your house. What in your opinion is the most valuable thing you own? Is it a gold ring? A phone in your pocket? That book from your favorite TV show? Sure, they have value, but in the end, you do not really need them to survive. The most valuable thing you own is actually something you might take for granted. Go to the nearest sink. Turn it on. What do you see? Water, right? That's right. There is the most valuable thing you possess. Water. H2O. 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. Without water, you cannot survive. Without water, civilization cannot thrive. Water is a necessity. But for some, it is a resource that is either hard to get, or it's running out at an ever-increasing pace. Now at first glance of our planet, you might be thinking, hang on, how on earth, a planet that is 70% water, be running out of the stuff? Well as we all have learned in elementary school, most water on Earth is not drinkable. Pretend that in this glass of water, there is all of Earth's water. All 100%, from the oceans to the lakes. Now how much do you think is fresh water? 50%? 65%? How about 2%? And then even that 2% is not entirely drinkable. Most of that water, 68.7% of it, is trapped in the glaciers. Then of the remaining 31.3%, 30% of it is deep underground. It's permafrost, ground ice, groundwater, deep in taps and wells. This leaves us with this. 1.3%. That 1.3% of all of the fresh water on Earth. From that 2%, only 1.3% of it is of surface water, accessible to us. In that small 1.3% is the water in all the lakes around the world, such as Lake Ontario, in swamps like the Florida Everglades, the soil that makes all plants grow, and even the water in the atmosphere. To someone like me, or maybe even you, that may be hard to believe. I mean, when we turn on our taps or flush the toilet, we always expect water to be there, to come out of the sink and aid in washing our hands or brushing our teeth, and to fill the toilet bowl after the business is done. But now imagine having to trek for kilometers to get water, or live in fear that one day the taps may run dry. Around the world, this is an ever-looming problem, and it is not slowing down. Now you may have heard about it in the news, but Cape Town, South Africa is running out of water. Not in the sense that it will be no longer there, but to the point that non-essential water usage will be restricted. How did that happen? Well, rainfall levels is one factor. From having the wettest year in decades in 2008 to only 6 inches in 2017, the rainfall in South Africa is getting less and less and less. Droughts are only getting worse, and soon other major cities may experience them as well. Dams are now barely full. Some are at 12% their capacity, and are not getting replenished fast enough. And of course, good old politics play in here too. My, even with water, politicians like playing dirty. But in seriousness, mismanagement, improper steps in handling the drought, and opting towards long-term gain rather than quick answers has led to the situation to worsen. What's more, with major income inequality, poor regions are suffering while wealthier areas are only now either struggling or are able to get by due to wealth, preparation beforehand, and payments to government officials. Corruption, basically. When day zero hits Cape Town, for many people across the city, the taps will be dry. No water will flow when they turn them on. Only essential services like hospitals will have water, and people will have heavy regulations on how much water they can get from public taps. And Cape Town is not alone. Even countries as a whole are struggling. Many cities in Brazil have been having water shortages, and China is running out of drinkable water too. For a country with 20% of the world's population, China only has 7% of the world's fresh water. From that 1.3% that is. And yet half of the country's rivers are too polluted to drink from, and 80% of the groundwater is unusable. Industrial pollution and improper disposal can be blamed here. And sadly, that drinkable water is not enough. 25%, a quarter of China's population, actually drinks polluted water. It is a major health issue. Many fall ill each year because of it. Some predict that this could lead to conflict, not just in China, but around the world. Civil wars and global conflicts. The next cause of wars will not be loony dictators, oil, or natural resources. It will be for water. Water! Future conflicts will be for water. Of all things, water. A resource that should not even be fought over. It is a necessity. We need air to breathe. We need water to live. You cannot control air. Water should not be either. Everyone needs this precious resource. Forget gold, oil, silver, steel, and more. Water has existed before all of us, and it will long after us. But we humans are ruining it for ourselves and our future generations, not just the environment. What kind of world will we leave them?
No one wants to die.
Apple founder Steve Jobs once said,
Death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it's quite true.
Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. For now, someone like me is the new. The past generation is being slowly cleared away. But soon, this generation, the one I'm in and many of you as well, will be the old and be cleared away. We have a lot to do before that. Fix the mistakes of the past, learn and improve, prepare the next generation to take on our planet after we pass on. Now you might be wondering, why am I talking about death and the future in a video talking about water? And it's quite simple. Will future generations have fresh water too? The simple answer is yes, definitely, absolutely. But the long answer, not in the same way. Could their fresh water be a commodity they must fight for? Or die for? Will the luxury of turning on the tap that many of us take for granted today become a distant memory? Will they look back at us and be mad that we failed them, leaving them on a planet that we screwed over? Or will they look back at us and be proud that we started to slow down the downward cycle and aided them in reversing the trend? I cannot tell you the honest answer, and if I tried, I might end up being wrong. Truth is, the problem of water and its accessibility will always remain. But it can be controlled, and it can be slowed. There are many ways to reuse and maintain water. Recycling it is one solution. Purifying it so it can be reused over and over again is both a natural resource through the water cycle and a man-made one through purification. The water that comes out of your taps is most likely recycled water, sent to treatment plants, cleaned, and flushed back to you. This can also be done with ocean water. It may be saline, but if purified, it can be drinkable. Countries like Israel recycle 85% of their wastewater. By 2020, they expect 50% of agricultural water needs will come from recycled water. In countries like the UK, they are leading in smart water meter technology. These smart meters will provide homeowners with info on how much water is being used and how much is being wasted. They can also pinpoint leaks and help in quickly fixing them to limit water wastage. By 2030, some expect all UK households will have these meters. That's great and all. Modern technology and simple steps can help limit wastage. But those are big solutions by governments that are in many places around the world. What can you, as a single person, do to help out? One of the biggest culprits in water shortages is misuse, overuse, improper maintenance, and more. Misuse and overuse is pretty common. Leaving the tap on when you do not need it. Taking water only to realize you only needed a little bit, and dumping the rest down the drain. How about instead, only take what you need, and if it is too much, pour some in another glass. If you need more, then you have more, or you can give it to someone else. None is then wasted. If a tap is leaking, or you have been getting a water bill that does not make any sense, try having it checked out. Chances are you may have a leak in a tap, or a pipe which could be behind that bigger bill. You'll be conserving water, and also be paying less. Older versions of appliances, like washing machines and dishwashers, can also use a lot of water. Try upgrading to a more efficient version. It could save you a lot in the water bill department. But simply put, turn off the tap when you do not need it. When you're brushing your teeth, shaving, washing the dishes, turn the tap off when you do not need it. That water to you may not matter, but to someone else, it is a commodity they may be dying for. Water is precious. It is the cornerstone of civilization, from nourishing the ancient world from the Nile and the Mediterranean to the 5 mighty Great Lakes. Water was here before humans, and will be here after us. But it is up to us to decide what state that water will be in. Will it be polluted till it is undrinkable and leave future generations to fix our mistakes? Or will we take action and stop the downward cycle? The future is in our hands, and simple and small steps can go a long way. So the next time you turn on a tap, or brush your teeth, or go to get a glass of H2O, remember this: take what you need, and limit how much you waste. Being fortunate is a privilege. Don't take it for granted, especially with water.